Howdy howdy, my name is John, and this video is a review of the series, the Robot series by Isaac Asimov. I've done individual reviews for the first two books in the series, and I'm not going to do individual books for books 3 and 4. They don't really have a whole lot to say about them. Before you read the Robot series, I do suggest that you read Asimov's I, Robot. I, Robot is a collection of short stories that kind of set up Asimov's world of robots, and it kind of gives you a good idea of the world that Asimov envisioned. It isn't necessary to read this book, but it will help with the later two books in the series especially. This series follows a human detective and his robot assistant as they solve a series of murders. Basically, what Asimov was going for was a mixture of science fiction with the detective mystery genres. I'm not really big on the detective mystery genre, and so that really kind of affected my enjoyment of these novels. The plots of these novels aren't really the best in my opinion, but they do cover some interesting themes. Those themes being, what does it mean to be human? What environment do human beings need to thrive? Maybe even more important, what kind of environments causes human beings to become complacent, and then this complacency lead to cultural decay? The first book in the series is The Caves of Steel. This is my least favorite in the series, and it's the only one I gave 3 stars to. Basically, again, not the most engaging story from my point of view. And as I will say in the later books as well, Asimov made some questionable decisions in plotting out these novels. And those decisions really affected me the most in this first book. The second book is The Naked Sun. And this book I gave 4 stars to. I did find this story more engaging, and it does kind of get more into the themes of what I really appreciated about this series of novels. This novel does take place 2 years after the events of the first novel. The next book that I would suggest that you read is The Complete Robot by Isaac Asimov. This book contains the stories that are in I, Robot, plus a good bit of the other stories. One of those stories is a short story that follows the events of the second book. I think you could read this short story first without really spoiling the events of the first 2 novels, but I do suggest reading it afterwards just to get a sense of flow. This short story will get mentioned in the later 2 books in the series, although again, I don't think there's enough information in those books that would actually count as a spoiler. I do have a suggested Asimov reading list, and I'm going to update that list to put this book in between books 2 and 3 of the Robot series. Book 3 in the series is The Robots of Dawn. Another reason I suggested reading The Complete Robot before this book is because there is another short story that gets referenced in this book, and it will make a lot more sense to the reader if they've read that story first. That story is The Bicentennial Man. In this, the murder is actually of another robot. The destruction of that robot really doesn't have any legal ramifications. It's more of a political situation. That makes the themes of this book a little bit more interesting. Again, I gave this book 4 stars. It, like some of the others, it does have some questionable plotting choices, but overall, this is a good read. Book 4 is Robots and Empire. This book actually takes place a couple hundred years in the future from when Book 3 takes place. Now, the human detective does show up in flashbacks, so it is a continuation of his story as well. Of the 4 books, this one is my favorite. It didn't reach a 5-star level for me because, again, the story isn't the strongest in my opinion. Because, again, I'm not really the biggest on the detective mystery story. Still, this book does have a thrilling and thought-provoking conclusion. I will have to say, even though these books aren't the favorite of my Asimov read-through, I really have been enjoying my read-through of Asimov's works. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.